Yo, what's good, boys and girls? Everybody, really. It's your boy, No Name. I'm gonna give you guys a couple quick tips on some stuff about how to progress because, the game just hit, right? Like, okay, so we had the game over the weekend and everything, but the game just released globally last night. And so, as a result, I imagine there's going to be a lot of newer people hitting T3 for the first time and T4 for the first time. And I just want to give my perspective and my recommendations on how to very quickly set yourself up for success in these new tiers. Because I'm pretty sure if you've gotten there before you see this video, you're probably already getting like butt smacked by something, right? Like you go, oh my god, the difficulty increase is crazy. At least if you go early, right? Like it says it recommends doing your capstones at already. Yeah, I should have been a kill shot for this. I'm gonna show you something around there, but I would recommend 50 plus for T3, but you could do the capstone real early if you wanted to, and same for T4. I went into T3 at level 42, at level 44, and I went into T4 at level 61. And so very, very familiar with how much of a spike that can be, but there's quick ways around how difficult the spike is. You see here, they recommend you stay in veteran until you hit 50. I'm going to tell you how you can get around this. It's similarly for T4. They recommend be 70 plus. I just hit 70 last night. I've been in T4 for like multiple play sessions now. So there's a couple things that I recommend, right? Because you can push the capstone dungeons pretty easily. The capstone dungeons are kind of a pushover, if I'm being honest. But once you do your capstone, right? So first of all, in case you're not aware what I'm talking about, once you finish the campaign, you'll unlock access to a myriad of systems. One of them is that it's going to tell you that in order to go to T3, you'll see unlock by completing the campaign and the Cathedral of Light capstone dungeon in Key of a Shot at World Tier 2. And so I don't see the capstone dungeon anymore, but if I were on World Tier 2, it'd be right here. Allow me to show you. Actually, I can just show you very quickly. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So you see here, this dungeon, Cathedral of Light. This is the capstone dungeon for T2. When you complete this dungeon, you will come back to the statue and be able to click and go to T3. So, and that dungeon is not that bad. Like you could do it in your 40s and you'd be fine as long as your build is like reasonably well set up. Then when you go to T3, or if you're already T3, you're like wondering how to do it for T from there. Here we go. Fallen Temple capstone dungeon is over here. And this is the gateway between T3 and T4. But like I said, I did this one at 61, significantly earlier than it recommends, right? So now we're back all the way up to T4. And now what I've learned since then, because I did this wrong on my way to T3, but I think I got it right on my T4 entrance, is there are a couple ways to really quickly start your progress. Tip number 1. Check the vendors if you have gold. Like if you have gold that you could spare, like check the vendors. My vendor for T4 is kind of trash right now. But there's a chance that when you're in here, you see some gear that is just raw upgrades. Like I have strong gear because I've been in T4 a little bit, but like when I first got here, there's a possibility that I could have considered an upgrade, right? Or check all 3 vendors. The armor could be very useful in case you spot something that's just insanely well rolled. Nothing here is like priced enough to really be that nuts. By the way, the tip for if something is going to be really good is if you look at its pricing, and the pricing is ridiculous. If you look at it and you go, why in the world would this be so pricey? It's possible that the item is actually just really good for you. This is not the guy. It's this guy. So like these are all just still sacred, so they're not even that good for me. Like, there was a point where this ring wouldn't have been terrible. The min roll along the crit stats is kind of unfortunate, but like it would have been a 3-stat ring. Or here, this one's not too bad either, right? Like there's some decent pieces in here in case your gear is feeling incredibly weak, and most importantly, it'll bring up your item power, especially if you're going between T2 and T3. If you're making the jump from 2 to 3, there's a chance that you find an absolute banger in your shop. So that's 1. It's a bit of a gamble though. My actual recommendation for like the big bucks is when you finish the campaign, you're going to unlock this system called the Whispers of the Dead system, or the Tree of Whispers, which tells you to collect 10 Grim Favors, and then you'll be able to claim a reward of your choice. I don't actually have one set up because I kind of claimed one before I went to bed, and I didn't really want to farm out another one. But you'll see all around the map now, once you've completed the campaign, there are these markers. The light pink ones give you 1 favor. the like I don't know how to describe this color. I guess we'll just say like it's like a light red. I don't know, but this other color will give you 3, and then the red gives you 5. And so, just in general, and this includes the PvP zones as well. If you're a fan of World PvP, like these zones also have them, and these are really good, especially because of how low people are not really in these areas that much, and so you actually get a lot more like kills per hour in there. It's actually really good. And I have marked versions of all of the above. You'll see over here all around the place, right? And so there's a couple ways that you can do this recommendedly, right? Depending on your character strength. So at this point in the game, you've just taken a massive spike, right, in terms of what your character needs to do. So I would recommend not going into dungeons. Dungeons are kind of scary when you're on a difficulty spike, just because of the sheer volume of elites that they can spawn that you might not be ready to handle. You can test it once to see if your character's feeling good, but I recommend just cycling things like, so for example, if I'm looking up here, this is a very nice region. This is a very easy, like 6 points or so. So this harvest gets completed by just killing things in the zone, and then just complete a couple of these along the way, like completing events, clearing cellars, killing a bunch of enemies around the corpse, slay generic enemies in the area. Like this is super easy points, right? 7 points here, then travel to another area, do it again with the small ones. But you'll have 10. You'll be able to go back to the tree, and the tree is going to offer you a selection of one of three. It'll be like chest, collection of chests, collection of one-handed weapons, collection of jewelry, and then you'll be able to go. I really, really, especially again at this point when you're going up so heavy in progression, opportunities for weapons to drop with higher item power is massive. So probably just gonna take the weapons there. That's the thing, right? Then you'll also get your first sigil if you're just now entering T like post campaign for the first time. You'll get your first sigils and whatnot. But the biggest thing is that it's just a chance for sacred gear to drop for you early when you just enter T3, or chance for ancestral gear to drop early when you just hit T4. And this is probably what I'd recommend doing the most of when you're early on and your character feels very weak in your new tier. Once you start feeling a little bit better, I recommend doing the Hell Tides, which the Hell Tides are not up right now. I have a video coming within the next day or so to talk about how my group farms, how we group and how we solo farm Hell Tides, because the method is pretty much the same. It's just the efficacy gets different. But Hell Tides has proven to be an incredible source of gear and XP, and I guess by extension of gear, we also want to talk about the fact that that's a lot of gold and like crafting resources for me, right? Like most of my gold, I'm kind of poor right now, and like my resources are heavily carried by how much time I spend in the Hell Tides, including like look at my Forgotten Souls. This is a resource only in Hell Tides, so you're gonna want to do that a lot. You're gonna need those for upgrading your character. But in terms of getting gear quickly, Hell Tides are a very good place to do it. Target the weapon boxes again early until you have sacred weapons. Mysteries is always good. I'll talk more about that in the other video. Excuse me. And the last thing, of course, is just similar to Helltide, is that you just want to stick it to world content while you're feeling weak. And so, any of the events that spawn, whether that be local events, like, the orange circles on the ground because your area has an event, those can drop pretty good stuff. And then also gathering legions, world boss spawns, just anything in the world, really. Most of the world tuning is pretty friendly. And so while you're just looking to fish for a couple strong drops to just put you back on the map so you can get to dungeons or whatever you want to be doing, right? Because especially if you're a fresh out of T2 into T3 player, depending on the speed at which you make this progression, your Paragon border doesn't even exist yet. And you're gonna want to be able to get get into content with better density. That's why Helltide is incredible, so that you can get some XP. And then the last honorable mention, by the way, since I mentioned because of the mention of events, is that you should also always come down to your boy, your boy or girl, your purveyor of curiosities, your gambler, if you're familiar with the term from D3, Kadala the Gambler. This is the same role. You get a currency from doing things that you then spend at them. And so I'm on T4, so my stuff looks a lot better. But even not at T4, or whenever you see these, one, they can always upgrade in tier actually when you buy them, but this just gives you higher weighted chances towards that upgraded tier if you see the sacred instead of regular. And so, buy the slot you need, dump these, like, you're doing things basically that are low challenge, high reward. And that's really the secret to getting geared quickly. Then if you're curious about what good gear looks like, I have another video coming to be paired with this one to talk about what I believe is very important in gear. Just to much simplify, because I've realized talking with some friends that this is a little bit more nuanced than I actually thought it was. Or at least it made sense to me in a way that I couldn't put in words as text without taking up too long. Anyways, that's coming soon. So, video about the Hell Tide coming up just because I think it's an incredible activity that everyone needs to know how to farm efficiently because it is such a large part of your both experience generation and your resource generation, at least in the case of the experience if you're not doing the thing. And then we also have our video coming up on gear. But this has been today's video on WT3 farming. And I just want to say all activities in this game are made easier by having a friend or multiple friends or just people in general, right? Just having people there just makes this process easier. Group play in Diablo in general has always been really strong. And so if you're looking for people to play the game with, come stop by the Discord. Link will be in the description down below. Cool. Well, got some incredible people in there, and we're all friendly. We don't bite. Just looking for more people to play games with. So feel free to stop by there. And also, if you're looking for any more tips, you want to ask me some more questions live or anything, or you just want to play with me even. When I'm streaming, I'm completely open to playing with viewers as like, why not? It doesn't hamper me in any way, shape, or form as long as we're in the same tier. The link for my Twitch will be in the description down below. You hit me up there. I stream around 8 to 9, starting around 8 to 9 central most nights. And that's about it. This is my quick start on how to get into your new torment more comfortably. And then, thanks for watching. Leave a like if you liked it, subscribe if you feel like it. See you in the next one. Peace.